Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us for another episode of GPS for Your Business. Today's episode is Client Experience. I am Dr. Randi Ross, along with your coach for today's episode, Mike Nannini. Let me tell you a little bit about Mike Nannini in case you're not familiar with him. Mike is an award-winning certified business coach. He's the owner of Focal Point Business Performance of Central New Jersey. He brings more than 2 decades of executive management experience to the table. He brings a really clear, easy to understand approach that's founded in the proven system of focal points. And Mike believes that systems run businesses and people run those systems. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Mike Nannini. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Randy. How are you? Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out today to join us.
All right. Well, we're going to jump right in here, Mike. And today as we said on this episode, we're talking about client experience. And as always, we want you to, kind of define what that means to business owners. And let me just do a little backtrack here for 1 second before we have Mike jump in. Understand that if this is the first time you're with us, we use the word business. It might interchange for you for practice or company, as well as we use the word clients, which for you might be patients or customers. So don't feel that you're in the wrong place if we're using terminology that doesn't apply to your particular industry. It all works together. All right, Mike, it's all you.
All right. So what is client experience? Client experience to me is how you treat clients and prospects. So clients, obviously people that do business with you. Prospects are people that you would like to do business with. So what is it? It's what interactions you have with them, what touch points you have, meaning how often you talk to them, email them, anything with your company name or logo or information about it that gets in front of them. What do those look like and how are they delivered? That's client experience in a nutshell.
Okay, so I guess we're done and we can call it an episode.
Yeah, there you go. This one's easy.
That was a real easy one. Didn't even have time to warm up the computer. Well, and nothing's as easy as that if owning and growing a successful business was only that easy. But I think that that's a great starting point. And let's talk about why it's so important for a business to understand their client experience, because I don't think that I'm probably unique in thinking that majority of businesses do not evaluate their client experience.
No, you're right. They don't. And to me, this is everything. Without clients, you have no business, regardless of what type of business you have. It's that simple. You need to find new clients, which means you need a well-oiled prospect experience. And you also have to be able to keep the clients you have, which means you have to have a clearly articulated client experience that you and everyone else that works in your business delivers. In one of our earlier sessions, Randy, in the strategic planning portion, we talked about missions and values and what is it your company stands for and what is it that you're delivering, why you do what you do. And this gets back to that to some extent, but it covers everything from the time someone calls you, how quickly do you return the call if you're not available? What is the greeting from the first employee of your company that comes in contact with that person? What are they saying? Are they setting the client's expectations for what will happen next? To the time they leave, when are they coming back? What are you doing to make sure they return? What value are you adding other than your core products and services to differentiate yourself from the other places that offer the same thing? Do you send emails to clients? What do they say? What's the goal of those emails or those direct mail pieces or the letters that you send? How effective are they? These things are so important today. This is a very in-depth session and varies greatly by business type, but it's critical to be great at this.
Well, and I think that a little bit of what you're describing is part of team training and everyone that is involved in your business understanding what their role is in that client experience. Is that part of this too?
Yeah, that's right. Running a business and delivering client experience is very much like being a team member of a crew and a crew rowing. If one person isn't going in the right direction, then guess what? The boat's going to go sideways and it's not going to go as fast as it can. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Getting everybody marching along the same line as I used previously is critical to this. And without that, you can't deliver a good client experience. Think about this. Ritz-Carlton Hotels was really the first company that differentiated themselves successfully based on service, right? If you've ever stayed at a Ritz-Carlton, had the pleasure of staying there, when you ask anyone that works there for anything, what's their immediate response? It would be my pleasure. What a great response. They have defined their client experience each step of the way. When you check in, the valet takes your bags, and somehow when you get to the front desk, they know who you are, even if you've never stayed in that hotel before. It's that attention to detail which has really separated from them and allowed them to be a very successful aspirational brand and allowed them to charge a premium for their services. So a lot of times small businesses can think about it in a similar manner and think about, hey, what are the things that we can deliver to differentiate ourselves and really make our client experience better for the people that we do business with.
Isn't that almost a little bit what places like, I mean, you use Ritz-Carlton, but even Disney, don't they, their whole model is, they actually, I think there's programs called the Disney Experience. It's all those things of making sure that there's almost nothing negative that someone could actually walk away and say about you. It's just creating that experience. I think the interesting thing is it doesn't always mean it's a better place. It just means that the perception of what people experience from your business or your company makes them feel good.
That's right. Look at Disney. You don't even see the garbage because it all is taken care of underground. I mean, it's all they have. And obviously, Disney and a small business is two different things. But I think it's a valid point where they've thought about all of those things and, they've put something in place to address them to the best that they can. You all, I'm sure, go into businesses where they don't think about this, where the people are rude, where, how many times have you walked into a place of business? This happens to me all the time and it drives me absolutely up the wall, where there's 4 people working there. One person's doing work and the other 3 seem like they're standing around not doing a whole lot. And yet there's people in line waiting for whatever it is that this company or business sells or does. And, so that type of a business hasn't really paid attention to the client experience, and contrast that with Apple. Apple is a great example. If you go into the Apple store, if you buy something, there's no register. They pull out their phones, they swipe your credit card, they do it all right there. They email you the receipt. If you want a bag, they pull one out from underneath their tables and you're on your way. They've completely revolutionized the way that people do retail. And you're seeing other stores and other retailers trying to emulate that. But, obviously Apple has the technology, so it's easier for them. But it's another great example of just trying new things and trying to improve the way that people feel when they come into your business.
Yeah, and I think that's so important to to almost try and the best you can walk the experience in your business. I mean, part of what I think it feels like with Apple is because you don't go up to a register, you almost don't feel the pain of spending $2,000 on a computer or $500 on a phone, because psychologically we're also programmed to, that's where the bad part is of a transaction, is when you have to pay for it. So I think if we all think a little bit outside the box for our particular business, there are probably little ways, like you said, not everyone has the technology of Apple, but there are probably little ways that you can, mirror that. One of the things when I work with doctors is that we teach them is have the patient make their next appointment and pay before they go in. So when they come out and they're feeling good, because hopefully you delivered a good service and they're happy, you're not first then asking them to pay, because it's kind of like I was referred to it as a buzzkill. So there's little things, and Mike pointed out some great examples. It might be the way your team interacts with people, which is a big thing. I'm sure we could probably do hours on that. To little things about where they're paying, what even the path is that they travel through your business. Is it easy to navigate? Is it difficult when they're in there? So I'm sure Mike, I'm sure you could talk about a million different variables, but I think the important thing that I'm trying to bring out that I want you to kind of reiterate is it doesn't matter what your business is. There are little things that you can do to create that Apple-like experience or that Disney-like experience, no matter what industry you're in.
Absolutely. Without the technology and the resources of an Apple or a Disney, there are certainly things that you can do. And as I said earlier, the biggest thing that's missing is most small businesses just don't think about this. Some of them do, but most don't. And really just taking a step out of working in your business on the day-to-day. I need to make it happen, and I have to see patients, or I have to make the donuts, or whatever type of business that you're in. I have to do these things so that my business runs today. This is one of the key things where it's important to just step out. And Randy, as you said, really understand what happens when someone walks through the door of your business. What happens when they call your business? Is that the type of place that you would patronize? If so, why? And if not, then what can you do to improve it?
Yeah, and I, depending upon your industry also, and you might probably know a lot more about this, there are different companies. I don't know if they call them secret shoppers anymore or what the word is, but you can even ask a friend that your staff or your team doesn't know, to come in and kind of go through the experience and let them know certain things that you're expecting them to experience, so they can look for them, whether it's what something addresses you a certain way, or brings you into a room a certain way. If you're a retail store, is the salesperson actually carrying the clothes you're trying on into the fitting room? Is that part of your experience to make someone feel special? So are there companies for almost every industry, Mike, today that can give a small business owner some of this information and details?
There are, yeah. I mean, I think what's important is, defining what it is you're trying to accomplish in your business. And I know we talk about that a lot. But the reality is that it's easier to keep the clients, patients, and customers that you have than it is to find new ones. So anything that you can do to really hone that client experience and deliver it in a consistent fashion will help. There are folks that can come in and help you with this. But I would think about it, start with, if you haven't thought about this before, start with, hey, where's your favorite place to go? I love going to the Apple store. I don't like the receipt that gets emailed to me because everything there seems to be expensive. But I like going there because the people are friendly, they're nice, they're knowledgeable. It's a seamless process. I don't have to talk to someone to help me and then talk to somebody else at the register. I don't have to wait in line at the register. Once I get somebody to help me, I'm good. And I can walk out with whatever it is I need, answers to my questions, or whatever I purchased. And it's very easy and very seamless. So if you think about it from that standpoint of what are the sorts of things that you like and how can I make them more prevalent in my business, then at least that's a good starting point.
Okay. I think that just kind of clarifying one thing would be really helpful here, because we're talking about evaluating, when we talk about client experience, talking about evaluating different dynamics that are taking place from within that interaction that the client is having. I just want to make sure that people understand this is different than a stat or a metric or those other numeric values that we're looking at to evaluate, the current status of our business.
Absolutely, yeah, and so that's a great point, Randy. And there are some things that you can do to measure how well you're delivering your client experience each step of the way. And that varies by business depending on the infrastructure that you have, the support that you have, and the types of things that you're trying to deliver. But yes, the most important metric to really drive your client experience is client satisfaction. And I know we have another session that's solely about that, so I won't get into the details. But yes, the client experience is what you're delivering to people, and then client satisfaction is how you're measuring how effective that client experience is.
Okay. So again, just so everybody understands, we keep saying that these different episodes we're doing, continue to tie back to each other. And I think you see this again over and over again, that I guess business isn't segmented. Is that the right way to say it, Mike?
Right. So business isn't segmented, but it's an important point when you talk about client experience, because depending on the type of business that you have and your ability to control these things, you may actually want to segment your clients. You might be in the type of business where not everyone should get the same treatment and the same level of interaction with you or with your team. And I think that's okay, right? It's the old 80-20 rule. 80% of your revenue likely comes from 20% of your clients. So should those 20% of your clients get the same experience as, the bottom 20%? They probably shouldn't, right? But your ability to control that and deliver that is variable, right, by the type of business you have. but more often than not, you can. So paying attention to that and coming up with a plan and differentiating the type of experience and the level of service that you're delivering is really a great way to deliver a very strong client experience in a cost-effective way.
All right. Well, I made some notes as we went along here, Mike. You can, these are just little bullet points that kind of drive it home. If you're watching this, feel free to, to stop it and rewind it and go back as you break down each one of these elements. We also want to let you know that Mike is offering a assessment of your business, and it's we've devised it so it's very simple, very quick. 3 to 5 minutes of your time will get you a lot of information. Once you submit that, Mike will be providing you with a report of the evaluation of the answers that you provided. If you simply click either on the screen right now or below, depending upon how you're viewing this, it will take you to a page that says click here to get started. Really simple process. I can tell you that there's a lot of value to be derived from this assessment and the suggestions that Mike will have for you. Mike, do you have any closing thoughts while we tie up today's episode?
No, I'd just like to thank you, Randy, and thank everyone for joining us today. Think about your client experience over the next 24 hours. Take the survey, Randy, as you suggested, and look forward to speaking with all of you soon.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us on another episode of GPS for Your Business. Today we talked about client experience. I'm Dr. Randi Ross, and along with your host, Coach Mike Nannini, we will see you on the next episode.